Okay, so welcome everybody. As Mindy mentioned, this is going to be an open conversation. We are going to be having this webinar, and as long as we're going, if you have any questions or comments, you can just raise your hand or drop them in the chat, and either we can stop to take them immediately or we can wait until the end. I want to start by showing you this video that's made around like a month ago, but I was already in the process of putting the final touch on this presentation, and I found this video. I think it's worth adding to the presentation. So this is an engineer trying to build a demo for a client. So there is no sound, but you can read the description of each step and how he, okay, expect for interface that's in progress any second now. And he ends by saying, any questions, see you next week. This example is held as something that is a great demonstration of how stuff can go wrong when you are trying to demo to demo something to the client. But at the same time, it's something of impediment of something that we call Murphy's Law, which is basically that anything that can go wrong will go wrong. When you are building a product or a service with a potential for failure, this failure will be realized at some point in the future. And if there is some possibility that what you are building will break, it will break. So often people, to solve this problem, they try to identify these failures and try to make them work. But the right approach and the agile approach is to try to build something who doesn't have this point of failure, or trying to build something that the failure point, and you can trigger them right now, so you can fix them and move on to the next part. Agile do that by building small versions and adding some improvement with time, delivering value as soon as often as possible. Once you build something worth delivering to the client, you deliver to the client. And third and most importantly is you show your work as soon as the client can use it. So this something that all people working on Agile seems to agree on, but what is mind-boggling is a lot of people don't take full advantage of that point. A lot of people either do the demo poorly, or they entirely forgo the stage and wait until the end of the product, end of the development, to show what they built to the client. So the reason for that seems to be that either they are not convinced that there is some value in showing it as soon as possible, or they are not convinced that the product is ready enough to be shown, or they are having a hard time building presentation and showing them to the clients. This is something that you can hear often when you talk to agile teams, is like questions like, okay, what should we demo this sprint, or something like, okay, is this thing ready to be shown, or like, we haven't completed this features, is there there is no way we can show it, or like, this is an internal feature, can we, is there any value in showing it to the client? These questions and other are regularly thrown. So in the following slides, we will see some simple tactic that can get us to the point where we can show the work we did and get some valid feedback on it. As Mindy said, I'm a software engineer with more than 15 years experience, spending over 2 continents. I started my life as a designer, but now I also did a lot of Agile and Scrum training. I was a Scrum Master and Agile coach. And right now I live in Montreal, so it was a great day today, since it was 1 degree. The last few days it was -20, so it was cold. Okay, if there is one thing that you can take from this webinar, is this phrase. It's basically, each time you are trying to show something, or you are thinking about the end of the iteration, are you going to show something, or do you want to show something? Always this question will guide me a lot when I try to build any presentation. I think it provides a lot of value. The question is simple: is what value does what I'm showing bring to who I'm showing to? This is going to identify which person you are trying to show the work to, and at the same time identify what are you trying to show. Preparation is one of the things that we're going to be focusing on for a part of this presentation, and the reason for that is in the software world we work with a lot of really smart people. This comes with a lot of advantages. You can have people who help you with stuff when you need. You can have great mentors and something like all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, this comes with some disadvantages. We seems to be complacent from time to time, and we seem to think that we're going to be able to show the work we did without any preparation. So this might be a little bit hard, because without proper preparation, I saw a lot of teams who squandered potential that's come from having a good review, either by not showing the work the way the client can understand it, or by not gathering proper feedback from the client. So first step in the preparation part is regarding the meeting itself. Go live. This is something that is a little bit hard nowadays with everybody having a lot of meetings. It's a little bit complicated to add an additional meeting for people, but I believe there is a huge value in having a high bandwidth communication. It's a way of making sure that the communication is done in a way that you can present what you want to present and gather proper feedback. Yes, this can be done asynchronously, either by just, for example, compiling the software I'm working on, or deploying it and recording a video of the engineers using it, and then asking the team to asking the client to provide feedback. But this is a lot of both-way communication with a lot of latency. The best thing is to get everybody in the room and show them what you built, and ask for feedback on what you have built. This will also have the added benefit of getting you proper understanding of a better gauge of the client reaction to what you built. There is nothing that beats seeing the client using what you built and the way they react to it. Also, there is this the statistic that said that between 70% and 90% of all human communication are non-verbal. This is not something that can be communicated by a Slack message or an email. So having everybody in the same room will help a lot. Next point is start preparing the review, the demo as early as possible. A lot of people I worked with in the past, they often wait until they are done working, or sometimes they wait until the review is close to start preparing. This creates some form of redundancy, because either by then they have already spent days and days working on other stuff, so there's some context switch, there is some lost information, and they work double time. The good thing is to start preparing for the review at the sprint planning. Once you start identifying the work you want to do, you start at the same time you identify what do you want to show and what do you not want to show, and you have a plan for showing that work at that stage. Third one is, this is a question that I often find people asking at the planning stage, who's going to be showing this? The short answer is the person who did the work should show it. I saw some teams who the PO show everything. I saw even some weird cases where the engineers are not even invited, just like the project manager or something like that, who show the work, but this creates a lot of deviation, and the information is often lost. The best thing, as we say earlier, is to have everybody at the same room to show the work that they built, and to gather proper feedback on it. This is one of the questions also that is often thrown around when talking about what to show. Is this thing complete or not? There's this phrase that says that done is better than perfect. I believe that usable is even better than done. In Agile, we always have this mindset of building small part of something and then showing to the client with the expectation that they might not need more. The same thing apply here. Even if a feature is not completed or something, as long as the client has enough, she had done enough work for the client to use it as intended, even if it's a little bit buggy or still lacking some testing or something, it might be a good place to show it to the client and see how they react to it. Maybe what you are building is not even something they are looking for, or maybe what you are building is something you are looking for, but they might need some little adjustment, or maybe the rest of the feature is not even needed. So once they are something that might be usable, it's time to show it. This is more a tactical thing, but it's something worth mentioning nonetheless. Some teams prefer showing working software, and sometimes they prefer showing just slide to avoid all the issue that is coming from having software doesn't work and everything. And we will see later how to handle that. But this question is something that is often left to the team, but I believe that there is nothing beats showing the real thing. Showing some screen capture and talking above it, it's something that can help, but it will not be able to help as much as showing the real thing working. Once you have your, you know what you want to show and how do you want to show it, you get to the meat of the presentation itself. The presentation should start always by demonstrating the value of the work. This comes in the form of answering the question, why? Why do we did this work? Before even you start explaining what happened, what did you do, what you build, everything, you have to answer the question, what business value gets you to the point where you needed to build this, and how does this, what you build, solve the problem that you are trying to solve. You can mention the issue that either the bug or the new feature fix, the business needs that you are fulfilling. Don't start with other stuff, because audience attention is really flared and it's really scarce, and you can lose it quickly. You will have like a few minutes to grasp their attention and to hook it, and best way to do that is to start by demonstrating that they can that there is a lot of value from what you build, and to mention the exact value. Don't assume that the users know. They might know, they might not know, but don't assume it. Just say it. You may be surprised how much people forget about the work that you are doing, and you have to remind them why you are doing it. So don't hesitate, mention it again. And even if they know, it won't hurt if you can repeat it, unless of course somebody once before you and said something. So in that case, there is no need to repeat the same thing in a span of few minutes. There's also this aspect of working on the real thing. This connection between what the client are expecting and what you are building is something that you should keep in mind as long as all along the presentation or the demo or something. Each result of each interaction should provide some value. Show, don't tell. This is something that we learned in kindergarten. Everybody loves working software, even more than working code. Like I saw some presentation where people showed us just the code working, but there was also the question of, okay, how does that affect the end product from a user perspective? So if you are preparing either a demo or a script or something, instead of showing the code, you can just show what the code do. This is something that is more favorable to people who are working in the UI side or on the front end side, more than people who are working on some heavy coding stuff in the back end. Something that you might keep in mind is just showing a simple console with the login that you have either by accessing some database or something. I'm sorry, I'm giving a lot of examples from the software world, but I believe the same example can be extended to other products, not just software. You can also show the result of what you did by using some examples that are not integrated to the work. Actually, I saw people developing proper dashboard to show some stuff that the client will not use, but just to show the value, or like developing some external tools to use to show the what they built, even if not something that the client will use directly. This point is regarding, yeah, that's it. Okay. This point is regarding knowing your audience. Today, when we are developing software, for example, about any product, the clients might come in many different shape and form. You might be building something that an end user will use, or you might be building just a small part of an application that another team will use to build on it, to build the end product. So keep that in mind when you are trying to build your presentation. Get a clear idea of who will be using this product directly. The more specific you can be, the better you can be for your presentation. If you can even name one person that will be directly using what you are building, that will be great. It will give you the proper precision of how you can tailor your presentation in a way that fit with that person. If you this in practical term might take some form of something as simple as, if you know you are building something for somebody who was technically inclined, you might go a little bit deeper in the details, while if you know you are building something for somebody who are less or more in the technical side, you may be putting the emphasis elsewhere. Also, if you are building something for internal use, you might just go with your internal jargon. I know that a lot of companies have the internal way of naming some stuff that will not fly outside the company. So if you are building something internal use, just go with it and it will be okay. But if you are building something that it will be used for external users, you might want to skip all that internal jargon and go with some industry standards. Another example is, if you are working with the same person again and again, you might start anticipating the question that that person will ask. And you start picking the answer for the question before even they ask. So basically, my main point is, try to know who the person who is going to be using this the thing that you are building, and try to tailor the message to them. This is something that software folks know well. As we saw in the first video, there is this thing called the demo gods, where basically every time you want to show something live, they're going to screw up with you and making sure your demo doesn't work. So prepare for that. As we said also earlier, in Murphy's laws, anything can happen will happen. So prepare for that. That might be something as simple as recording a video of your demo and playing it if they have an issue with the real thing. Or I saw some people who forgo completely the step of doing demo live. They record it and they play it at the moment while they are doing some form of voiceover to make sure that they are interacting, asking for feedback and getting feedback. And they have already showed that what they built is working and the way it works. And they don't need to expose themselves to some variation in the performance at the moment where they were showing it. Make it colorful, like literally. Try to make anything you build have meaning by injecting some visual element into it. Human involved to associate meaning with colors, with shapes, with stuff like that. So try to capitalize on that. This doesn't mean that you need to hire a designer and build presentations that are professionally made by a designer, but just take some time to insert some colors or some shapes, some icon, and that will not only make your presentation really pretty, but at the same time, it will make the information easy to digest. Like I saw people who, when they want to show the difference between a use case that is right and a use case that is wrong, they often use something as simple as red and green that shows when there is an error, when there is not. There is some situation where people want to show some data. I saw a lot of people that they go an extra step and they try to highlight the information that is more relevant. This is something that was really that's helpful, and it's something that I do often in my presentation to show, to highlight the stuff that is more relevant than the other stuff. And also, if you are dealing with the same situation, adding some charts, some graphs to your presentation will help a lot. If you are doing with a lot of I saw people doing code, but highlighting the code to provide proper information, and that seems to help a lot in making sure that the relevant information is visible. Train before the battle. This is something that really help when you are trying to present something, but at the same time, you don't want to make an error presenting. It's something that, as the picture is said, it's something that even the driver of Formula One do. Is like before the qualification, they often run few laps to get the feel of the car at that moment. The feel, sometimes the weather, sometimes the altitude, stuff like that might affect the Formula One car, and stuff like that might affect the presentation. Not exactly the weather and the road, but just having the chance to do some form of rehearsal, some form of dry run, that help a lot when you are dealing with high stakes. And we all know that when you are showing stuff to the client, it's high stakes. You don't want to leave anything to chance, and you want to test as much of your stuff as possible. This is not a session to plan the review. At this stage, all the planning and presentation should be ready, and everything should be ready. This session should be as late in the sprint as possible, but you should leave like some few hours to adjust some stuff if needed. At this stage, of course, some people should already have their presentations or the demos ready. They just run it in front of the squad, like they're gonna, in front of the team, like they're gonna run it in front of the client and get feedback and readjust if needed. Now that we talked about all the preparation that goes to making the demos ready, we can talk about a few points to keep in mind while we are in the review meeting. First one is to make the meeting safe. This is often referred to as the responsibility of the leaders, but I believe it's a shared responsibility between anybody, not only the leaders, but having this responsibility of helping each other feel safe, either if we are in a leadership position or not, is something that is gonna help the team bring the better in everybody. Remember that it's not easy to put ourselves out there. It might come easy to some of us to just go and show our work and talk about it and defend it or stuff like that, but not everybody is made the same way. So for some people, it's really hard to show what they build, and they will need some extra encouragement. But more than that, they will need to feel safe. They will need to need what is called psychological safety. The team need to work together to eliminate all the blame, all the finger pointing, all the thing that lead people to just hide. As we said earlier, the person who did the work will be better suited to show it, but I know a lot of people who have a hard time showing it, and they prefer just letting other people take credit for their work, or other people showing it, and they just take a step back and do nothing. There is also what we can say in the point number 4 in the part in this section is the question of asking questions. We need engineers to show their work, to get feedback and ask questions about that feedback to make sure that their understanding is correct. And for that, people need to feel safe. Don't forget, the review process is an opportunity for learning more than anything. You need, after you show your work and you get feedback, you will know what you did well, what you did well, what you didn't do well, and you need to improve what you do well so we can build the next version of the product or the software. Having said that, it doesn't serve anybody that if somebody made a mistake, either by presenting something that doesn't work or something that the client didn't need, that they will feel like they are ostracized or something. So make sure that there is a climate of psychological safety in the review process that will help everybody to talk about what they built. Next is, this is something that I often say, is a lot of people try to present to the higher ranking member of the higher ranking member present. They often target somebody who either a manager or a director or somebody who is in a position of authority. And this happens a lot especially when we are not dealing with end customer, but we are just building something that other teams can build on, is that people are just gonna talk to the higher ranking member and let the team sort it out after that. But this is not always a good situation, since it is something that at that occasion of the review is the place to talk to the person who's going to be using that product and get their feedback on it, not talk to somebody who is going to be talking to that person, and just targeting that person is going to be used to might create some feedback loop and questions and answers that can help in building the next thing. Of course, this is not possible if the team you are talking to is just, they just sent their manager that sent out the team. So you might be forced to try to just explain to that person and then get them to pass the message along. But I believe even in that situation, you can try to reason with them to send the person who is better suited to use that product or service in the future. As I said, when we're talking about the audience here, it's really important if the person is present to establish some eye contact, even speak to them by name to try to get them to get proper feedback about what you just built, and try to ask questions. Controlling the communication flow is really important in this kind of meeting. When we are talking about something that was built, it's not really hard to see the conversation devolve into some form of brainstorm, or even people start talking about stuff that is not even related to what was presented. It's just a question of somebody asking a question regarding something, another person say, hey, by the way, we should do it this way, and then the brainstorming starts. Once the brainstorming starts, the next thing you know, you lost valuable time doing something that can be done better in another context. So no matter who you are in this meeting, either you are just somebody who here to get the presentation, or you are presenting, or you are one of the leaders who are responsible of putting the thing together, make sure that there is a proper control of communication flow. Don't hesitate to say, okay, by the way, this is a subject that can be either taken offline, or a subject that can be better suited by tackling it in another meeting or something. So this is really important. The next one is something that I often find some team made the mistake of just don't ask enough questions. They expect one direction communication. They show, they get feedback, and they took note, or they even don't took note, and then they go back. And a few days later, they have to reach out again to the users to ask them, hey, by the way, we have an issue with this, or even sometimes worse yet, they ask for the same feedback that they already received. So the first thing should be to designate somebody who is not going to be presenting or nothing, and their job should just be taking note to make sure that the feedback you receive is not lost to the ether, but it's something that is well captured. The second is to ask questions to make sure that you understand exactly what the client is meaning when they say do this or do that, or it's better suited to be done this way or something like that. So this is two things that are really important. That's get me to my last point. I believe as a conclusion, to have a great presentation and get proper feedback, there is two rules that are really simple. I put them in reverse order here so that it's easy to remember. The first one is be prepared. As much preparation as you put into it, as much value as you're going to bring out of that activity. And the next one is always focus in value. Show value of the work to the right person. That's the end of my slide. Thank you so much for listening. Any questions?